This era of the UFC lightweight division is almost over. The violence era of Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje. They had absolute wars and made this must-watch TV. And I'd like to hear from you guys in the comments. What's your favourite fight from this group? I like reading comments, even if they disagree with me on some parts. That's fine. Now onto the video. I warn you as well, we may not get this again. Look at light heavyweight years back when I had Lyoto Machida, Rampage Jackson, Rashad Evans, Forrest Griffin and Wanderlei Silva. It was the premier division and then it went into a total dark age, since this only occurs when you get a group of guys that have the right mix of striking, grappling and toughness to make every fight exciting. But who had the best career is an interesting question. We had the rise of Dustin Poirier coming up, taking out the old guard of Jim Miller and Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje altering his style to beat Edson Barboza and Tony Ferguson, Charles Oliveira leveling up to when he was a journeyman, Michael Chandler coming from Bellator. But now a new generation is coming up, and with all of them having multiple title shots, with that opportunity fading away, guys like Dustin Poirier are openly losing motivation. But still, after we lost Khabib and we were wondering who the hell the new guy would be in the lightweight division, then we saw an afterthought in Charles Oliveira coming up, and Michael Chandler just came in from Bellator beating Dan Hooker, and they had that absolute war. Then Charles had to fight Dustin, who just beat a returning Conor McGregor, being the first guy to knock out McGregor, went to war, getting hurt multiple times, but just slowly landing a knee to the stomach and finding a submission. Justin, who went to war with Michael Chandler, Charles beating him after one of the most exciting one-round fights ever. This has to be the best period of MMA for me. Literally jumping up off the couch watching the fight. But then Islam Makhachev came up, Khabib's protege, the guy that the whole AKA gym would say is better than Khabib. He beat Bobby Green and got shot up to a title shot. Credit to him, he performed greatly, dropping Charles and choking him out. Then Islam fought Volkanovski, who people were scared would just get crushed, showed he's strong as an ox and who looked invincible beforehand, to decision. Then came the setbacks as Dustin had his war with the new generation in Benoit Saint Denis, got his second title shot. And while he gave it a good go, Islam clearly beat him. Charles Oliveira having injuries that kept him from the title rematch, and then losing to Arman Tsarukyan. Justin Gaethje got KO'd by Max Holloway, and his only win is against Fiziev, but we never learned anything about either fighter from that fight. Justin beat a guy he beat before, but on short notice. Fiziev gassed in the later rounds, securing Justin a win, so we never really got anything from that fight. That tells us he can beat Islam. We would have got something from the Dan Hooker fight, which I hope gets rebooked. Michael Chandler had a long layoff, waiting for Conor McGregor. A fight focused on a payday rather than legacy, came back and got beaten by Charles Oliveira again, this time having little success. Now we got the new generation, Arman Tsarukyan, Renato Moicano, Mateus Gamrot, Rafael Fiziev. But I think Rafael should move down to 145, he's a bit small, but everyone else had amazing grapplers, which spells hard for these strikers. We can put Dan Hooker in there also, it seems like he's having a career resurgence right now. What's next for them now though? I think Justin Gaethje maybe gets the last title shot. I think the UFC knows that fight sells. He may need one more win and I think it'll be a favourable matchup. I don't think he'll be a grappler, so maybe if he beats Dan Hooker, I think Charles Oliveira can climb his way back up. He does seem a bit slower now. It would be best for Charles that Islam moves up, so it causes a shuffle in lightweight really, like what happened with Khabib. Because I don't know if any of them can win a title again. I mean, do you? I don't know. I'd love to see it though. I'd like to see Charles Oliveira versus Renato Moicano again. That's just a fun matchup between two crazy grapplers. For Dustin, people say Gaethje, but Gaethje doesn't want to fight a guy who's going to retire. The UFC wants to give Dustin a hard matchup on the way out. I say Gamrot. Give Gamrot a go. I think that's an interesting matchup for both. Gamrot's improved his striking a bit. I'd be happy with that one. I think it's a good idea to have fun fights instead of chasing a belt. Like Michael Chandler said there, these guys had Hall of Fame careers and the belt is just a tiara, a cherry on top. I'm sure they have a bunch of money. I do get it though, they need a reason to grind and get up in the morning, I get it. But they have a solid legacy. They will be remembered as some of the greatest and violent fighters the sport has ever seen. Every fight being a banger, which is hard to do, and they did it for so long. Justin versus Dustin, when will be in the Hall of Fame. Dustin versus Hooker will be. All the Michael Chandler fights. We have witnessed something special that we will only appreciate once they're gone, and the new group of lightweights have come in, who have a very tough follow-up. Anyway, these are my thoughts. I'd like to hear from you guys. Who had the best career? Do you think any of them will become champion again? What's the best fight from these guys? And do you think this next generation can shape up? I'd like to read the comments. Anyway, I'm off.